Guys, what's going on? Back again with another Arbitrum ecosystem update. As usual, nothing in this video is financial advice, and everything I say is my opinion, and my opinion alone. Without further ado, let's jump into it. Got a bunch of topics today, actually. We'll start off with a tweet here by L2beat. They say, first active L3 project is live on L2beat, introducing Dairy Protocol, an optimistic rollup deployed on Arbitrum 1, utilizing Arbitrum Orbit technology focused on DeFi. And you can see the infographic more for the details. I will say that I think there are already a couple of Orbit chain L3s that are live today. It's just that they're not all listed on L2beat. I think if you go, and we'll visit it real quick. If you visit L2beat's actual page and you look at the layer 3 projects, there's a couple already. So Zai obviously is one of the more notable ones. There's ZK, not ZK. There's a Rari chain, of course, which is also live. I'm actually a little surprised that they only mentioned Dairy Protocol there. But I will say, and shout outs to L2beat. Love you guys. Great governors and great information dashboards. You know, we got to throw the layer 3 projects a little closer to the active ones. I mean, you know, I feel like they're almost divorced from everything. They literally put past the archived projects. What's going on here? It's fine. I think it's kind of crazy though how, like, you know, regardless of whether they were projects on layer 1, layer 2, layer 3, etc., the marketing aspect I think is the most powerful, and it's as simple as placing this like layer 3s all the way back here that I think just like, I don't know, like, you know, it gives people a certain perception and a thought around them. And don't get me wrong, layer 3s to me are probably going to be the most scalable solutions that are out there today and in the near future. It just doesn't sound that sexy, unfortunately, to be 2 or 3 layers away from Ethereum from a marketing perspective, I guess. But that's why, if you ask me, every project's go-to-market is the most important thing. Zai, Rari Chain, none of these guys, like, their pitch is not that they're a layer 3, right? Like, their pitch is that, well, for Zai, is that it's essentially like a gaming-focused blockchain, you know, like heavily onboarding, you know, gamers, gaming teams, and even publishers, right? They're acting as a publisher essentially. Whereas Rari Chain is more like NFT art focused, right? Nowhere in their marketing do you see anything about like you know, L3 plastered everywhere. So to me, I think this is where kind of the whole like app chain thesis starts to kind of proliferate with Arbitrum Orbit chains. Infinitely scalable, a lot more scalable than layer 2s, if you ask me. If you're looking for apps that, you know, you want to kind of scale like long term with a lot of transactions on them, and that's why these two in particular, Rari Chain and Zai, are optimums, using the antitrust solution versus the rollup solution. But Dairy in this case is obviously DeFi focused, so you can argue that they don't even really need that antitrust architecture. Every L3 will be different, and that's what I'm here for. I'm very excited to see all these different L3s and even L2s kind of launch and you know, figure out their footing in this whole kind of crypto blockchain space. Anyways, shout outs to L2beat. You know, let's bring the L3s a little closer to the L2s. What's going on here? What's going on? All right, we have a post by Bharat. Last week, for the first time ever, I recommended a portfolio project to deploy to Arbitrum first. I told them that they need to lean into the network with the most DeFi early adopters. We need to face the reality that Arbitrum is winning DeFi. And this is Bharat quoting Kane. Kane is the founder, I think, or CEO of Synthetix. They essentially, in this blog post, announced that that I think Synthetix, or I guess like a degenerate version of it, is being deployed into Arbitrum, and that essentially kind of, you know, said that I'm going to use the word admitted, but, you know, did say that Arbitrum DeFi is, of course, winning, and that's not a secret. So I don't even want to use the word admit. I think he just told the truth, what everyone knows already. It's a relatively big moment, I think, for those in the OG DeFi community. Synthetix was essentially one of, like, I think Sassano would call it like one of the DeFi darlings of early Ethereum. You know, like Maker, Aave, Compound, kind of with those crowd of projects. So to see them kind of finally making the move over to Arbitrum and the ecosystem and showing a little bit of love towards it, I think is it's a long way, because they've been optimism aligned for the entirety of their lifetime on chain. So good to see. Shouts to Kane. Appreciate the love. The Arbitrum ecosystem appreciates the love. Shouts to Bharat for highlighting that quote for us. We have a tweet here by Offchain Labs, and they say, what does ArbOS 20 Atlas mean for users and developers on Arbitrum? Well, one of the main objectives is to ensure Arbitrum is ready on day one to support Denkun once it goes live on Ethereum mainnet. And in this case, here I'm going to go into a couple of updates that Denkun or ArbOS Atlas brings to the Arbitrum network. Here we go. Let's look at this one. Arbitrum's upgrade ArbOS Atlas also adds support for the three specific EIPs from Cancun or Denkun plus. Oh my God, Jesus, so many terminologies. 3 specific EIPs from Denkun, which includes the Deneb and Cancun upgrades. One of them is support for the new transient storage EVM opcodes introduced in EIP 1153. Support for the new mcopy EVM opcode introduced in EIP 5656 for cheaper memory copying, and EIP 6780 aligning Arbitrum with EVM's security posture and laying the groundwork for future EVM improvements. And all of this, of course, it includes EIP 4844, which I so conveniently left for last, which introduces a new data storage type called blob data. And I'll kind of go into a little bit of detail here because everyone is very, very excited for this one in particular. Currently, all L2 transactions are being batched and posted to a call data market. EIP 4844 gives L2s an option to batch and post the transactions in a new data market called the blob market. Blob data is only retained for 18 days on L1, making data costs for Arbitrum chains more efficient. And this, of course, EIP 4844, generally speaking, applies to all L2s as well. But this in particular, all these different EIP upgrades and whatnot will be included in the next ArbOS upgrade, which I think is actually live on Snapshot to be voted for. But actually, I might have already talked about this too, which is funny. But yeah, so if you hold any ARB and you want to vote for or against this, you can vote for it right now. We have a tweet here by Anuja. Anuja says, Circle's USDC native adoption on Arbitrum is growing day by day. Grants on various protocols are live with the help of a great team from Gauntlet. Check out Uniswap, Camelot, and then keep an eye on Aave and Radiant Capital. This is a screenshot, actually, of I wonder if this is a report or a website that Gauntlet created, particularly referencing the amount of USDC, which is native USDC, and bridged USDC on Arbitrum 1. I wish there was... I don't know where the website is, but there's a website floating around somewhere. And it essentially, a long time ago, a couple of months ago, I actually want to say, there was a much heavier amount of bridged USDC, which is USDC.E, on Arbitrum 1 than there was native USDC. Because native USDC came onto Arbitrum a lot later, obviously, than bridged did. And some of you would ask, why does it matter? Why do we need two USDCs? Well, the native USDC is better in that you could argue that it's a lot more secure. There is no kind of bridge risk or any kind of risk that's associated with that that the bridged USDC version does have. So there's been kind of a push from Gauntlet and I guess as well from the foundation, the Arbitrum Foundation, to minimize the amount of bridged USDC that lives on Arbitrum 1 and of course in turn increase the amount of native USDC that lives in the chain as well. So it's actually happening. It's coming along quite well. This chart does not include Uniswap, so I'm sure maybe if Uniswap was in there, it'd be maybe a little bit more accurate. But to see, at least amongst Radiant, GMX, and Aave, 69% of the USDC held in these protocols being native USDC, you can see that obviously it's leaps and bounds. There's a lot of improvement being made. I just look forward to the day where this is essentially just 100% native USDC and no one has to worry about which USDC am I holding? Why do I have this one? What's the difference between this one and that one? It's a whole complicated thing. It was a lot bigger of an issue. It was a much bigger issue back then, a couple months ago. And I think slowly but surely they're starting to roll out a lot more liquidity for the native version versus the bridged. So that's always great stuff to see. We have a tweet, or this. Oh no, this is not a tweet. This is actually this is on Farcaster or Warpcast technically. Not going to go into the app itself, but we'll talk about what Brahma said here. Brahma says, GMAnon, now you can deploy your Arbitrum safe on Brahmafy's console to improve the efficiency of your on-chain operations and segregate risks in literally one click. Now, I'm not going to do it here just because I don't want to just go ahead and dox myself in front of everybody, but if you're not familiar with this, just real quick overview. This is essentially like a Web3 native social media platform called Warpcast, built on the Farcaster protocol. Now, what this is, and it's essentially like this Warpcast in particular is like a Twitter clone. That's why it looks almost exactly like Twitter. What this is here is actually a post with a frame in it, meaning that I can literally interact with this thing right now. And again, I'm not going to because I don't want to dox myself. But I'm already doxed actually, so it probably doesn't matter. But still, you're essentially able to interact with the blockchain, like straight through this post. So I could literally press deploy console account, and this frame in particular will create a safe for me and actually start to. And I guess I can use Brahmafy's console in particular to like do on-chain actions with that safe. And safe by safe I mean like the multi-sig, the multi-sig safe, like the protocol. A lot of things to unpack and explain there, but the point is that if you're interested in creating an Arbitrum-based safe, you can check this out. I'm not, by the way, this is no endorsement. I just think it's pretty cool that you can do something on-chain through a social media application with Arbitrum. So obviously, be safe. Don't put any keys in here that you'd be afraid of losing and all that stuff. But yeah, still pretty cool. I thought it was a nice thing to post, so I figured why not mention it. We have the next post here by Elon Money. This isn't Arbitrum specific, but it does relate to Arbitrum a little bit. The ERC 404, I don't want to call it a standard because I don't think it is a standard. I think it's literally, this is essentially like a new meme coin kind of token contract that's being created now. Apparently, I think this is what Elon Money said, that it's literally a mix between ERC 721 and ERC 20. But the smart contract was created with ChatGPT, and of course it's unaudited. So any ERC 404 you see, whether it's on Arbitrum or any other chain, be highly, skeptical of it, I guess is what I'm saying. Treat it as if it were a meme coin. Now, I wanted to bring it up today because there were a couple on Arbitrum floating around. I almost got into one, and then I realized, wait a second, Hunter, you are terrible at trading meme coins, so probably not even worth getting into this. So I didn't get into it. But that being said, if you want to take a look at the 404 craze and have a good perspective and information on what 404s are and the different ones that are out there, highly recommend you take a look at this tweet because they did a great job at breaking it down in the thread. All right, this is the last tweet I have here today, and I promise I can relate it back to Ethereum and Arbitrum. I posted earlier today, I can't believe I paper-handed TIA at $2.50. TIA, for those of you who don't know, is the token for Celestia, which is a data availability network. And the current price of the token, I think, is like 10 times the price. I think it's like $20 right now, which is insane. Insane. Now, more than talking about the price, because I could care less about the price. The fact, there's another project called DIM, which is like Dimension, I guess, and their whole thing is like roll apps, pretty much like app chains, I guess, but like, I don't know, I guess they changed the word up a little bit to make it sound different, roll apps. I don't know too much about it from a technical perspective, but what I do know is that, I got some of the tokens because they had an airdrop, and I tried selling them. And I will tell you, that was the most complicated process I've ever gone through in my life. I haven't even sold them yet because I have no idea how to do it. One thing I will say about the multiple layer 2s, the multiple layer 3s that are starting to come out this year, I hear so many people talking about, oh, there's too many, we don't need this many, what's the point? And then of course there's another group of people calling for a cross-chain interop to come now. L2s and L3s are much easier to navigate than the Cosmos ecosystem and anything related to IBC. I will challenge anyone. I will go on record and say that because I have Kepler, I have all the Cosmos related stuff, and none of it still doesn't make any sense. It's still it's incredibly hard to navigate. So I don't know. Maybe that's why the price of the Dimension is pumping because no one can figure out how to sell it. This has nothing to do with the team, by the way. I honestly don't know the team at all. I'm sure they're great people, but I'm just saying that the fact that people refer to the Ethereum ecosystem as being complex and the fragmentation of liquidity and all this, nowhere near as close as Cosmos, at least right now. Again, I don't hold any Atom or any Cosmos. This is just from anecdotal experience from me trying to do it myself. I will say selling TIA was a little bit easier, but even that was kind of hard. You're like, I'm losing brain cells trying to figure this stuff out. All that being said, I'm looking forward to this potential, cross-chain interoperable future with L2s and L3s. I think that'll probably come a lot sooner than better UX will come for the Cosmos ecosystem, unfortunately. But that's just my take. We'll end off, as usual, with a shill for Beneath the Layers. As usual, Beneath the Layers is a community-focused show dedicated to showcasing entrepreneurs in Web3 and telling their stories. I've already had a couple of guests on, including Jill from Espresso Systems, Ellie from Starkware. I think I had on before this, we had on, G-Funk from, I want to say, here we go, Pixel Vault, and a couple of other people. Great lineup of people. If you're interested in anything related to crypto podcasting, highly recommend you take a look. That being said, as usual, guys, this is a very long one. Thank you for watching as usual. I'll catch you on the next one. Peace out.